If you've been feeling stuck in your business and wondering if you're the reason it's not growing faster, I have something for you. I'm hosting a free, no-pitch live class called 3 Money Beliefs That Made Me Millions. And I'm sharing the exact mindset shifts that helped me go from $1 million years to $1 million months. This isn't fluff. It is a surprising strategy that changed everything for me, and I want to share it with you. Like I said, no pitch, no fluff, just you and me talking about how we shift our beliefs around money to make you millions. Save your seat now at jasminestar.com/millions. I can't wait to see you there. Have you ever bought something from Etsy? Every time you do, there is a small business owner who behind the scenes does a happy dance, and there is a very good chance that the person who's doing that dancing has been coached by our guest here today. So if you're tuning in and you think this is a show about Etsy, you're absolutely wrong. We're actually going into building a business. And if you're at home and you think you might have a business that's not so glamorous, not so scalable, I am here to radically change your mind. I couldn't be more excited than to invite Dylan Jahraus to the Jasmine Star Show.
Thank you for having me, Jasmine.
I'm so happy you're here. I am so happy you're here. Okay, so this is not a story about Etsy. It's not a story about coaching. It's the story of a business owner's journey to building a $12 million business and beyond.
Yeah.
And you're just getting started. And you started off very simply. And that's the story that I want to hold on to. So the show is all about business, and the show is about building businesses. Now, you happen to build your business by way, like infused with Etsy. So we'll kind of tie that in together. Mm-hmm. But before we actually get into the business of your business, which is what the show is about, let's tell people how we met.
Yes. Okay. So I think I slipped into your DMs. Let's see. It was back in the spring. Mm-hmm. And we somehow hopped on a 30-minute call, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. And we just started talking about our businesses and...
How did our paths, from your perspective, because my story with you starts in the DMs.
Yeah.
And so this is just like a note to anybody, like DM people, like absolutely DM people. Now, back in the spring of 2025, I was opening registration for the mastermind. So when you sent me a DM, I thought, is she interested in the mastermind? Okay. So I was like, just DMing, blah, blah, blah. And then in the DMs, like the conversation kind of sort of switched. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. There is something different here, deeper here. Yeah. And where did you intersect my path in the beginning? So prior to sending the DM. So I want people who are listening to be like, oh, I could reach out to somebody and get the same thing. Where were you at? How did we connect?
Yeah. So I think I was just following other people in this space who I saw were doing big things and making changes and doing innovative things. And you were one of those people. And I think I said something like, I love what you're doing, something like that. Love what you're up to or something like that. So it was so simple. I wasn't like pitching, hey, get on a call. Like, let's talk.
Yeah.
But it was very casual and just supportive of someone in the space. Yeah,
absolutely. And so that's like the main thing is like, I bring people on the show that I know personally or that I have a direct tie and connection to. And I know a lot of people and not everybody come on the show, but the more we got to know each other and the more that you built your business, I'm like, oh, there is a through line here that I think people can get and sink their teeth into. Like, here is somebody who started off simply. So most of the shows, I don't start with the origin story, but here I think it's like really important. Mm-hmm. So let's start around where you were before you actually thought of yourself as like an official entrepreneur.
Yes. I was climbing the corporate ladder. I was Miss Corporate Girly, working for big companies like Zappos and Zulily, and my career was everything to me. And it was really that way until I met someone in the military, and I didn't realize that you move a lot in the military. And so there went my corporate ladder climbing. I had to pivot. I had to try new things. And Etsy was one of those first entrepreneurial things that I tried.
Okay, so one of the things that, because I know that you started in corporate and it was a focus on e-com.
Yes.
And so were you saying, I want to get into e-com, I think I could build my business on e-com, or how did Etsy get started for you?
Yeah, Jasmine, I was desperate. I felt like such a failure. I was 25 years old. I felt like my career had peaked. So I was doing anything to really cover my monthly costs. I was doing dog walking. I was picking up dog poop in people's backyards. I was house sitting. I just wanted to feel productive and I was desperate. So I was applying for jobs. Etsy was just one of those many side hustles. I threw just a picture of something I'd made for our wedding up on Etsy. 2 months later, it sold. And then I thought, oh, wait, I do e-commerce. I'm an e-commerce girl.
Okay, so for people who are listening just on audio, but for shout out to our YouTube fam, for people who are just on audio, can you describe what you put up? Because this is actually, so here's the thing. From my perspective, I get a lot of DMs. I respond, I try my best to respond to every single DM. There was something about the way that we had interacted, and then I went to your profile and I started deeply understanding like what you were about. And one of the pieces of content that I happened to see just at that time was your origin story, like how you did get started. And so tell the audience like what that photo was and then what you ended up selling.
Yes. So the photo was of a floral letter. So fake flowers on the shape of a letter J for our last name. And we had it at the wedding reception, and it was just one picture of it. And then I put it on Etsy and people started ordering it for themselves, their own custom letter.
So they're ordering a letter with fake flowers on it. And you're like, I sold one, so I better make it.
Yeah. And so it was literally made out of foam and toothpicks. And my motto in life is put the food in the oven before it's preheated. That's how I live my life. I do not wait until I'm ready for anything. I will put that frozen pizza in when the oven is ice cold. Like, that is how I operate in so many things. But that's what I did with Etsy. I threw up the picture. It was foam and toothpicks. We couldn't ship that to anyone. So then it sold, and I'm like, looked at my husband, what are we going to do? And he figured out how to make it with wood.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. So you started doing this, and then I did some research, and it took about 4 months to get consistent 10K months. So you go from picking up dog poo and house sitting, and 4 months after this toothpick and foam and flour listing on Etsy, you're doing 10K months. What does the 10K month mean to you? What does it change for you?
The 10K month, I have goosebumps thinking about this, because that was when I realized I can make more than I could in corporate. Like I can be more successful on my own than I could working for someone else. And that's what that meant to me. Because that's what, like 120K a year? That's a little bit more than what I was making in corporate. So if I could grow that or sustain that, wow, like I'm onto something. So that's when I really decided I'm going all in. I had actually another job offer for Petco headquarters. I rejected that. I went all in with Etsy. And it was actually the same week I found out I was pregnant with my first son, where I realized I do not want to put a 6-week-old or 12-week-old in daycare. I want to work for myself.
Okay. And so you are creating these Etsy listings, and then you continue to add Etsy listings.
Yep.
So what changes to your store? Like, when is the next big significant jump? Because for people who are still watching right now, Dylan is moving into the digital space and she doesn't know that she is yet. So I wanted just to pause here and say, wherever you are in your business, you can't foresee what's coming. And so you are adding multiple listings, you get consistent 10K months. And then when's the next big significant jump for you? When do you start crossing big numbers in the store?
Yeah. So with any business I've started, this is always the way it's grown. It's listening to the customer and focusing on the customer first and the product second. And for me, that was what it was. It was suddenly I'm making these for weddings and then nurseries. And then I'm thinking, okay, these are girl moms. I have boys. I'm not the customer, but I'm looking, what else are they coming to Etsy for? Who are these people? They're the people who are spending, $1,000 on their Pottery Barn personalized crib sheets. That's the mom I'm targeting. So I start selling these big flower walls for their wall decor. They're like $600. I would not buy that probably for my kids, but hey, my customer would. So I started serving this customer in many areas of her life for at least 4 to 7 years and focused on how can I serve her, when the baby becomes a toddler and has those birthdays and then goes to school. So I built the product mix really to serve her for a good chunk of time.
And so as you are getting upwards of 6-figure months on Etsy, you are making them, you are fulfilling them. Your husband jumps in and starts helping in the business when he's not deployed.
Yes.
What does life look and feel like for you at that point in time? Like when you're already over $1 million.
Yeah.
It took how long did it take for you to cross the $1 million mark in Etsy?
4 to 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 to 5 years. And at that point, I started hiring. So I hired my first assistant to be packaging orders, but it's very much like a solo business at this point. My husband's on a submarine, he's out at sea, and this is it felt like my purpose at the time. So I was hustling, so much to the point where 14 to 16-hour days on my feet, I got vascular disease in my legs. And that's when I really ramped up hiring and outsourcing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you build a $1 million+ business on Etsy. And then what do other Etsy sellers start asking you for information? How do you move into the digital space?
Yeah.
What actually is the light bulb that says, I have a 7-figure business and you want to know what I want to do? I want to go and do more. What happens there? What's that transition?
So it was back in 2022. Back in the summer of 2022, I had this leg surgery to fix the veins in my legs from standing so much that I realized I can't keep doing production. So I completely outsourced 100% of the Etsy shop. And I'm not the kind of lady to sit around, right? I want to I want to build something. So ended up creating a YouTube channel. I took a course to learn how to use YouTube to kind of create digital products. And within my first month of putting up daily videos, I had people asking for guidance. And I saw this gap in the market on YouTube because everyone teaching Etsy, they didn't have e-commerce experience. They were like a nurse or a teacher, and they got lucky, or they have tips and tricks for Etsy, but nothing that's like hardcore business principles. So I saw that gap and I just went right in, started teaching everything I knew from e-commerce in the corporate space and Etsy. And we had people asking for help that first month.
And so people are asking you for help. And then what do you do?
I created a course. I started selling it with, I just had my first module made. Okay. I started selling it.
So that here again, ladies and gentlemen, she's putting the pizza in the oven and the oven's not on. This is frozen pizza. So she's like, I'm going to create a course, but I'm only having one of multiple parts of it done.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to build it. I'm going to build the plane on the way down.
Exactly. Yeah. And that was what I was taught. They're like, create the course and then build it as you learn more about what they need. So I'm like, okay, this makes sense. Now the course, there's 2 ways to go: low ticket, high ticket. I had no idea. I was like, sure, high ticket, maybe. And
really?
Yeah.
Okay, so I did this too. I built a course and I was teaching it as I was building it out so I would learn. But this was a course for business owners who wanted to learn Instagram. Mm-hmm. But I went low ticket. What made you say high ticket?
They said that, or my mentors at the time said that if you want to make a lot of money and you have a small audience, high ticket is easier. And I didn't have a large audience. Less than 1,000 followers.
Okay.
On Instagram.
Great.
Like 1,000 YouTube subscribers. I did not have a large audience at all. So I went high ticket. It was like $2,500.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Why am I just learning about this right now? Oh
really?
My gosh. Okay.
Really?
Okay. Yes. I'm shook. Okay, great. Tell me more.
Okay. So it's $2,500. I started putting a Calendly link in the comments of my YouTube videos saying, book a call if you want to join my program. So I started getting a couple calls booked. I didn't, they call it closing. That's kind of, crass maybe, but I didn't close my first 13 calls. And I thought, okay, I got to go low ticket. I'm going to slash it to $200. And this was a coaching program, but I felt like, oh gosh, I'm failing at closing people on these sales calls. So better go low ticket. My mentor watched one of my calls and he said, Dylan, you don't sound confident in what you're selling. And I said, yeah, because I only have one module made. I don't know what the rest of it is. I was kind of just talking. And these calls were like 4 hours, Jasmine.
Oh my, wait, so you had 13 4-hour calls?
One went 4 hours.
But like there were definitely like an hour and a half or something like that.
I did not understand how to sell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, this is incredible. Okay.
Yeah. So 13 didn't close anyone. No one signed up. And then he gave me some advice. I took the advice and then 80% of people started signing up.
Give me like the 3 main things, like pieces of advice, because somebody right here is saying, I have an offer. It's not selling. It must be me. I'm going to cut my prices.
Yeah.
And so what changed?
Understanding their pain points, asking more questions. I was talking my way through that sales call. I wasn't asking questions through it. I wasn't leading them. They were leading me. I was like not in control of the call. So that alone changed everything.
Okay, that's so good. Yeah. So the minute you change, you start booking calls.
Yeah.
And you start building out these modules. Yeah. And it's selling for $2,500.
Yeah.
How long does it take for you to get consistent 10K months in a digital offer versus Etsy?
A couple days. Okay. So Jasmine, my goal with this whole course was to make 40K a month like my Etsy shop did. I thought that would be worth it. Yeah. Maybe by next year, I'll replace my Etsy income. We did that within a few weeks. So I realized, wow, like this is a whole nother way of making money. I had no idea.
And so you are having this program. How long is the program?
It was actually 6 months of coaching.
Okay, so 6 months of coaching. And so all of a sudden, I can forecast the future. You start booking a lot of students, but it's based on your coaching.
Yeah.
And so you are starting to grow the business. At what point, when you are already doing 10, 20, 30, 40K months, do you realize, okay, I want to go bigger. I want to go to $100,000 a month. What has to be true for Dylan and the business to get to 100,000?
Well, the next month we did over 100. So we scaled so rapidly, and we started raising prices a little bit.
And we say we, it's you and your husband? Or just you? Or
I always say we.
You do. Because I'm like, wait a minute. I've listened to multiple conversations about this, and
yeah, it was me. My husband was working, but on the submarine, but he was there for me, supporting me. And
so you're doing sales calls, you're doing content creation, you are doing teaching, you're doing support.
Yep.
Okay.
Building out the course, doing the sales calls, coaching everyone, creating the YouTube videos, owning Instagram, closing people through Instagram DMs. We were doing over 100K just in DMs where they didn't even book a call. So learned a lot from that. Wouldn't do that again for sure. But I ended up really getting to 600K by myself in 1 month and realized I've waited way too long to hire. It was about 6 months in. And I went to this event with Alex and Layla Hermosi, and they were like, you need an operator. Like, you've gone way too deep into this without hiring anyone.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me just back up.
Yeah.
So you hit 100K by month 2 and 600K by month 6.
Yeah.
So essentially you're adding $100,000 every single month.
Exactly.
So by month 3, you're doing 300,000. And by month 5, you're doing 500,000. By month 6, you're doing 600,000 every month.
It was about that. Yeah.
That cadence.
Yeah.
So then if we just do like backwards math, in 6 months, you're well over $2 million.
Yeah. We were going so fast, I never even totaled it.
Wow.
I was like, oh my God, we just hit 600K like this month. Like, oh no.
Okay. And most people be like, woohoo. And you're like, oh no. Where does the oh no come from?
Because I knew we could not sustain it.
God.
And I was so frozen and paralyzed. Like, what do I do? Who do I hire? People are going to be mad if I hire someone to help me with coaching. And how do I not make people upset? Because now I had all this pressure on me.
So you go to an event with Alex and Layla, and they say, you need an operator.
Yeah.
And does this sound familiar? Does it sound foreign? Or is this you're like, okay, I'm going to just put another frozen pizza in the oven?
Another frozen pizza.
Okay.
Yeah, another frozen pizza. Yeah. So we hired, sales team as well. So my first salesperson, we hired that week. And then we hired our first coach about a month later, and then started recruiting for an operator that summer. Yeah.
Okay. So at what point do you start crossing over $1 million a month?
That was month 13, 14. Yep. And that was with about 9 people on the team. Yeah.
So what happens? Like, what is the pressure point as you are growing that much, that fast every single month? Like, who does Dylan have to become?
Yeah.
Because you started off already a very successful business owner.
Yeah.
But making $1 million in a year is different than making $1 million a month.
Yeah.
What were 3 mindset shifts that you had to make to sustain that level of growth?
Yeah. So at about month 12, we almost went through an acquisition, a partnership. And this was something that for the previous 3 to 4 months, I was just holding on. I was holding on saying this acquisition, this partnership will change everything.
What did you want it to change?
I wanted them to show me how to hire the right people and to plug the right people in. That was my hope. So I was kind of paralyzed waiting for this day that now I'd have people to help me hire the right people, which was the big scary thing.
Yeah.
It fell through. The whole thing fell through. It was, we were on our way about to leave for Cabo for a little family trip, and the whole thing fell through. And I just felt like everything fell apart. I just shattered inside. I said, this was my plan. And now I'm way out over my skis. I have to figure this out on my own. And it was kind of that moment where it's everything falls apart, and then you have to put on your big girl pants and say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to hire these people. So I hired a recruiting agency.
Wait, let's pause though, because the storyteller in me, I'm the 3 mindset shifts, and we're on mindset mindset shift number 1, which is put your big girl pants on and figure it out. That's mindset. No one's coming to save you.
Right.
But let's go back. You hear about this as you're going on a family vacation.
Yeah.
And so how are you on that vacation? Are you working? Are you stressed? The show is really just to talk about, you can come on and be like, yeah, she's going to do 12 or 13 million this year alone. Yeah. And people hear that. And then like, okay, but just a year and some change, you're on your way to Cabo and you feel like your world shattered.
Yeah. And that was one of those moments where I had to realize that God's plan for me was better than my plan for me. And my plan for me was to do this partnership and to have these people come in and like save the day and help me. But God's plan for me was so different at that time. And I had to I faced those moments in time periodically where I realized like I have to hold on to that hope and faith that what is meant for me and what is coming is better than what I had even hoped for. So what's coming is better than what I had been dreaming of, which is exciting. Okay. So hold on to that. And I look back at those pictures in Cabo and I looked so scared and like with my kids, and I looked scared and I looked like I felt like a failure. Like, was it me, or why didn't this happen? Did I mess it up? And I told myself all these narratives, but I had to remember that my plan for me is not as good as God's plan for me. And that gave me hope.
Whoa. Yeah. Did that shift happen in Cabo, or did it happen, you go to Cabo, you're trying to regroup, you come home and it settles? Like, how quick did that happen for you?
It happened for me, I think, after I talked to my parents. And my dad, actually, he's really sweet. He said, Dylan, I think they were doing you a favor. I think they knew you could do this on your own. And that, his confidence in me reminded me, like, hey, maybe I can do this on my own. Like, maybe I don't need them. Maybe it wasn't me that they didn't like me. Maybe it's that they knew I didn't need them, possibly. So
do you still believe that?
It's so hard. Sometimes. Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes I think that it wouldn't have made a huge difference. And looking back, I am so glad that didn't happen, because I don't think this business would have grown exponentially more than it has already with them.
That's right. Dang, that's real. That's the real. Okay, mindset shift number 1 is to, like, no one's coming to save you.
No one's coming to save you. It's a decision. You either get up and you move, or you sit there and you sulk and fail, and you can't let the ship sink. So like, you're the captain of the ship, you've got to lead. So,
okay. So then what's the second mindset shift? Because you accept it. You accept, I am going to get back up and I'm going to continue moving forward. Then what's the mindset shift?
I think the second mindset shift is the excitement that can come from realizing that your plan is not always the best plan. And for me, I'm Christian, so I really believe that God's plan, and I've seen this, God's plan is always better than my own. Like my hopes and dreams for myself, my hope was to make $40K a month a year later. Like, that did it, in a few weeks. So his plan's always been better. And so I just had to sit in that.
And then the third thing?
And the third thing, oh my gosh. The third thing is that I wasn't going to fail. I'm not the type of person to fail. And I've got my husband at my side, and he built the Etsy shop with me. He was, he's locked arms with me with this business, and I wasn't alone. I thought I was alone, but I wasn't. Yeah.
So we get back up to this point. And so you have those 3 things. No one's going to coming to save you.
Yep.
That God's plan is better than your plan.
Yep.
And it felt like you were doing it alone, but the reality was you weren't.
I wasn't. Yep.
So once you become that version to step into the next version, then you go on to this like series of hiring.
Yep.
Tell us like what that was for you. What lessons did you start learning? Because you had to learn them really fast.
So fast. Desperate hiring is never
the worst. The worst hiring. Oh God.
Make the worst decisions. I made, like our first, the number 2, the COO, like that wasn't a good decision. It wasn't the right person. It was the second person I interviewed. Oh. For any job ever. Like, that was the second person I ever interviewed.
We obviously are not going to talk about the person, but what qualities were you looking for that was missed? Like, when you look back at it, what happened? Why was it a mismatch?
I think understanding the brand a little bit and believing in the mission of the brand. That was a big one. And I think their personal goals didn't align with the goals of the company. So I didn't understand the person and their why and what motivated them enough.
Got it.
Yeah.
And so for people who are listening, when we start hiring, does it matter that the person we're hiring understands the brand and the brand values? And then does their personal values align with the business values?
Right.
Yeah.
Because what do they say? A fresh broom sweeps clean. Like the first couple of months, oh, it's great. Okay, well, that's as good as it was. And then, things start to deteriorate because it's not sustainable if there is not alignment.
And so how long was that person there? How long was your number 2 there? It's your second interview, your first hire, or one of your first key hires.
Yeah.
How long was that person there?
Yeah, so I'd hired an executive assistant, and then this was the second person.
Okay.
So he was there 11 months. Yeah.
Okay. And then what was the conversation letting him go?
It was very challenging because I'd never let anyone go before.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go back.
So it was this isn't in alignment. My husband was there with me, of course, support on the call. Yeah.
Now, getting to that point, was it a long time coming? And it was just like more of the dreading. So I've been in two types of having to let somebody go.
Yeah.
And one of is like, it's just been this slow buildup, and it's just like the drip that kills me, right?
Yeah.
It's the drip that kills me. And then other times I'm like, this is a clear no, and I'm going to make this decision. For this role, that first time you let go of somebody, which one was it?
It was a slow buildup. And I think one of the biggest things that I learned was you have to document things. Even if you're a small business and you're like a team of 5 to 9, like you have to document everything. Yeah. Don't do phone calls. Put this, in writing. And I hadn't been doing that. And I felt like an imposter even. It felt like I was trying to be some corporate company doing performance reviews. It felt like I shouldn't be doing that because I'm a small business, but I should have been.
Yeah. And so now what does your check-ins look like for your key stakeholders?
Oh, yeah. 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, constructive feedback, like not just glossing things over, noticing red flags and bringing them up to them.
What's like a common red flag? Like in the 30, 60, 90 period, when you make a hire, what are you looking for? What are like some things that you're like, okay, already I can tell I'm gonna have to bring it up?
Being a self-starter. If they're not a self-starter, if they have to be reminded of everything and these are your next 3 steps, that's not going to be the right person in my type of company.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. So let's get into, you get into your key hires, you're building out a sales team. Yeah. Now you are doing all of the sales at this time. What are you looking for as you start building out somebody? Like, this is the conversation of scaling. The show is really for helping people scale from 7 figures to 8 figures. But there are people right now who are in a similar situation. I dream of getting 40,000. I dream of 100,000. And I would say, the minute that you start making that level of money, bringing at least one person in to help move the thing, okay, great. To move the ball down the field, great. But as you're diversifying, you are the person who is doing all the sales. Yep. You are the front line. You bring somebody in. What was some of the key learnings of bringing in and hiring a role to sell something on your behalf?
Yes. I think one huge thing is really locking arms with them and making sure that they understand me because they're representing me. And even if they don't have the right tonality or something, or they come in with like some hard sales, approach, that's not really on brand. And so people feel like they know me from YouTube videos. So if they then get on a call with someone who's like, you don't seem like you'd work with Dylan. Is this legit? That's where trust can break down. So to maintain that trust and have someone else sell for me, they have to be similar to me in some ways. So spending a lot of time with them. I led the sales team for the first 2 years before hiring a sales manager from within. And then I still kept going to the sales meetings every day. And then I finally started letting go last month.
Oh,
yeah.
It's super recent.
It's
super recent.
It's recent.
What caused that?
Seeing that the numbers are good.
Yeah.
And when I see results, I trust. Yeah.
So, okay. So you are building out key stakeholders. You're building out a sales team. You are continuing coaching and you're continuing building out content. Yeah. You had, many times in business, something will come along and it feels like it hits like a freight train. Yeah. It's like you kind of sort of maybe saw it or you just totally didn't see it coming. So the first big juncture in this arm of the business is having a partnership that didn't turn out the way that you had expected. Yep. So it forced you to kind of like regroup. Was there another opportunity or another instance where you were just like, oh, it shook the feet underneath you? And then talk to us about the build. Like this is the stuff a lot of people don't talk about.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot you can shoulder on your own for a certain period of time. But then at some point you realize like, this is not sustainable. Like and this is not why I did this. And I got to the point where I was not seeing my kids in the evening. They would say, mommy's on calls, mommy's doing Etsy business. That's what they called it, Etsy business. And they could like hardly talk, but they missed me and I missed them. And I was realizing like, this is not why I built this. I built this for financial freedom, time freedom, location freedom, and to help people. And the structure that I have right now is not serving those needs in the long term. So it actually was a point where right before a call with a prospective client, I got a phone call. This was back in January of the previous year. And it was that my dad had actually overdosed. So I know I just threw in like a big bomb to this conversation, but my dad has been a drug addict for well over 25 years, and he's in his 70s, and he had actually overdosed, and he was in the ICU. And I had to get on a sales call. I was like crying. I had to get on a sales call, and I did not have the team in place to support me. And I realized, hey, life is going to happen. My parents are older. My sister is disabled. I'm going to have to make sure I build this business so that I'm not needing to show up every hour of every day, just in case. And that's really when the team went from probably like 20 to now 47.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so when you start leading a team where it's doubled in size, who do you have to become to do that? What do you let go of? What do you say yes to? What are the like, I've always believed that every time there's been a jump for me professionally, I had to become a different person to step into that space or create that space. Yeah. And I think that you and I know each other now personally. We've gotten to know each other a lot. Is what do you have to say to yourself? Who do you have to become?
Yeah. So I think for anyone who's kind of doing a solo business right now, they don't have a team, it's kind of nice because like you kind of, you can keep to yourself, you have your own thoughts, you keep yourself accountable, and you don't have to worry about other people. So if you're an introvert like I am, that was really hard. That was so hard because I had to learn how to play into my energy in a different way where meetings, I try to have them at certain times of the day or like certain days of the week. And I just had to make sure that in order to show up for these people, like I had to control my energy more and play into that, how it naturally would be.
But how did you do that?
Yeah.
How did you control your energy?
Like morning meetings, that's better for me than like a 5 p.m., 4 p.m. Certain meetings I don't lead, but I'll be there.
Got it.
So it's that energy where I would just be like sucked dry. I don't know if you can relate to that. Yes. If you are on for 12 hours straight.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. And so now what I have done, and specifically going into 2026, it will be that I am going to mandate for myself, just energetically, I will not do meetings on certain days of the week.
Nice.
Like hopefully 2 days a week. It's just like, this is because what I realize is like being on meetings is so soul sucking for me. Yeah. It doesn't play to my strength. And then after I have given so much energy, I'm the best in the morning. But then I realize that when I do those morning meetings, I'm zapped of all energy to like create or to think or to ideate. And so I'm just like, okay, this is backwards because my afternoons are rendered useless for me. I'm just like a pile of mud. Yeah. And so I think that starting next year, in order to conserve energy, because I think that doing the same thing you had done is like starting to index when do I give my best? How do I show up the best? But then I started realizing if I really want to scale this business, I need more time to be alone and do what my zone of genius is. And I wasn't giving myself time to do that. So those your 2 tips, maybe adding mine, is like in order to help protect energy.
Totally. Protect energy. Yeah. So and realizing that just because you're an introvert, I think a lot of us think, well, I can't have a big team because I'm not a people person. So I shouldn't hire people because I'm not a people person. Well, that's not true. Like there's so many great entrepreneurs who are introverts and you wouldn't even guess. Like I assume everyone I meet in this space is an extrovert because of how they show up online in their content, but it's surprising.
Our last conversation, I think there was two things that you were like, wait, what? When I had said, oh, I'm like super like code red introvert. Like I'm like level 12 out of 10 introvert. And then the second thing that you said was surprising was you said, you're really private.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, I'm very private.
Yes.
Like wildly so. And I think that maybe I give the impression that I am extroverted and like I share all the things. And I'm like, oh no, it's like the Alamo over here. It's like FBI.
Yes.
Like people get like this tiny breadcrumbs along the way. Okay. So what happens as you're growing your team, as you're scaling, when you look at what's next for yourself?
Yeah.
Where are you at with that? And how do you find the next path?
Yeah. So I think the fulfillment is different now than it was in the beginning. In the beginning, I wanted, hitting these big numbers and, having my sights set on certain financial goals. But now it's like, I'm not happier when I hit a record month. I'm actually not happier. I'm kind of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I got through that month. It's not necessarily a true joy that comes from hitting numbers. Really, the joy that I'm finding right now is from the team building aspect and the elevating other people and seeing them grow. That's what's giving me so much fulfillment, whether it's a client, like an Etsy seller that I'm helping grow, or my executive assistant,
So let's talk a little bit about the change of the business. In the beginning, you were doing all the things. One of them was to do your coaching.
Yeah.
And now explain for people who don't know, like your coaching team has grown significantly.
Yeah.
And when somebody joins your program, they're not actually getting coached directly by you, at least up to a certain extent. They're not getting coached directly by you. Explain the nature of it.
Yeah. So it was all me for everyone all the time. And we do like daily 24/7 coaching. So that was a lot. My family definitely noticed. I was like, kids, be quiet. I'm making a Loom video for this person. Hi, Sarah. Like, okay, so let's get into your shop. And yeah, they noticed. So it was a little bit over the top. So I hired a coaching team. We have 18 people on the team now.
Wow.
Yeah. They were all previous students. Biggest fear was people will be mad if I hire a coach to help. They were not mad. They loved it because they got faster responses. So if one of your listeners is held back right now, like I can't hire someone else to fulfill the service, they can actually improve the service because it can be faster. So that was a big like myth that I was telling myself. So the coaching team, 18 of them, still daily coaching. And then I hop on calls twice a week.
Okay. Yeah. And this is large scale group. So people, whoever is in any one of the programs, whatever tier they're in, they could still come to twice a week coaching with you.
Yep. They still get me live twice a week and I answer all the questions.
Got it.
Yeah.
And so is there a world in which you think that you would work yourself out of the business in that capacity?
Yeah. So Alex and Layla, they said, okay, there's big key man risk here. Like if you got hit by a bus, what would happen? And that was before we had coaches. Still now, we played with bringing coaches into content, which I would love to do more of. But I do think there's something to be said for, hey, I still want to have this business. I'm not trying to sell this business. I'm not trying to work myself completely out of it. So I still like showing up. If I stopped showing up, I would lose touch, I think.
Okay, so I know that your expertise, your most depth of experience is with Etsy, but you have also created a tech component to what it is that you do. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Because to me, one of the things I found very interesting is our stories are very different and then a lot of similarities. Is that you're finding ways to add different components. I always say it's a tool on a tool belt of business. And building a piece of tech is, like not for the faint of heart. Talk about why you introduced it, what you've learned, because I want to talk about different iterations in the business.
Yes. So I will preface this by saying I'm not a tech girl at all. I do not update my phone. I do not shut down my computer. I have a million tabs open. And if I need to update any software, my husband does that and I don't know about it. So the fact that we have a tech company is crazy. And the whole idea came about, it was actually a recommendation from the Hermosis. They said, create a software to go with the program for that same customer. So it was the same idea of serving the customer in other areas. And their biggest pain point was SEO. So we created an SEO software.
Got it.
And it's called Etsio. And we got the trademark. Thank God, locked that in.
That's great. Okay. So you have this coaching layer, you have a tech layer, you are de-risking the key man player or the key woman player in the business, but it's not that much in the forefront because you're like, I'm not trying to sell the business right now. So it's okay that I'm still being content forward.
Exactly. Now, the software company, that is something I would consider selling at some point. So we are not building me into the brand. I'm not necessarily the face of that brand.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so now that you have diversified the business in so many different ways, and then you look at like what's next and what gives you joy is developing your team.
Yeah.
What does the next version of you look like in the business?
Yeah. More connecting with people like you, getting on some stages, helping people in different ways, not only with Etsy, but beyond Etsy too. Like we did that first 10 million without any ads. And that's something that I didn't realize was unusual. So helping people with things like that, or doing a lot of team building. So we're planning a team trip for the leadership team, doing things like that that I would not have thought of before because I thought, well, that's not profitable, but that's fun. And I want to have more fun.
And so you did your first 10 million without ads solely on the back of the content you were creating with the CTA to book a call?
Exactly. And I didn't have a ton of followers. Like the first 10 million, I probably had less than 30,000 followers. Yeah.
And so Etsy is a very specific type of business and specific type of business owner. But there's something that I find really fascinating about your insights. You talk to a lot of business owners. Yeah. Now, some or most probably in Etsy, but a lot of other types of business owners. What do you think are the 3 things that are getting in the way of people actually, like they hear your story and they're like, well, that's her. Yeah. She's special. She's unique. And maybe those things could be true. But what I know of you and what I know of myself and what I know of the people that we hang out with, we have a set of qualities. Doesn't mean that we're better. Yeah. It just means that we're different. So what do you think that you have or other people have that you see like, man, these are the 3 things. Like if these 3 things in business owners were to change, what do you think that is? Because you have a lot of students.
Yeah. We have over 4,500 students. So I've seen what separates the successful from the ones who don't get that momentum. And number 1 thing is consistency. Like I always say I'm not the smartest person in the room, but I will win on consistency. Like I will show up. I will outwork.
Hey, man, that's my game, honey. That's my game.
Yes. How many years of consistency?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. That is right.
So every time I don't feel like showing up, every time I don't feel like doing something, I think about my competition. I'm a little competitive. Okay. And I think they would watch Netflix right now. They would watch whatever. They would relax. They would, do something that's not related to their goals. I'm going to show up because I know they're not and they're sleeping, and I will go all gas, no breaks when they are slowing down. And that consistency game, like that is everything. That's why I'm so confident, because I trust my consistency.
So 1 of 3, first one, consistency. Second reason that sets apart the people who go and get big results versus those who don't.
I think, especially in the education space, it's a fear of giving too much. A fear, even in e-commerce too, a fear of giving too much. And if you hold things back, if you gatekeep, you're not going to be as competitive. My philosophy is give away for free what other people charge for. And that's how I grew so fast with the coaching business. I was sharing everything on YouTube that would be in someone's paid course. And then people thought, wow, this is free. What's behind the paywall? So people are afraid to share too much. Even on Etsy, they'll put like a watermark on their painting. And I'm like, no one's bought it. Like, no one wants it yet. Like, just hold your horses, Oh,
that's funny.
Yeah.
So consistency, giving away your best stuff for free.
Yeah.
And the third thing that would really help a small business owner like step into the next version of themselves
is letting go of control of the things that you aren't the only one who can do it. So control of emails, admin. And I realized like, what are the 1 or 2 things that I can do that only I can do? Content, showing up. Even I thought for a while it was sales. It's not. It's really not. So the couple things that only I can do, prioritizing that, and then really letting go. And if you hire the right people, like it's not going to make the business worse. And I thought like, if I outsource, the results will go down, but they didn't, So letting go of control. I think if you hold on to control for too long, you become the constraint of the business, and people who grow the fastest, they get out of their own way. They deconstrain the business when they become the constraint.
So we talk about those three things, and those were three elements that you have maintained in every iteration of your business.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about a partnership that didn't work the way that you had anticipated. We talked about a deeply personal, scary experience with your dad that caused you to go through something. What right now is the hardest thing in your business? Because I think that I want to demystify what it looks like to build an 8-figure business, because people look at that and are like, amazing, that's a walk in the park. Or imagine how nice it must be just to have money to hire when you want. But different levels are different devils. So what's really hard in the business right now for you?
People, mean people on the internet. That is really hard. That is really hard. People are so mean when they don't even know you. People assume the worst about you when you're successful in something. And it is hard as a sensitive person to read comments or to see people make assumptions or say something's not true when it's legitimate. Mean people, like that's the hardest thing that I've been up against. And I don't have super thick skin. It's gotten thicker, but I think no matter how big you get, certain things will get to you. Yeah.
So how long did you go before people started saying negative things?
Gosh, I think 6 months.
And then the more successful the business gets, does the rate of negativity stay the same? Or as the brand and business get bigger, does it also expand?
You know, the rate probably stays the same.
Okay.
But because the eyeballs, there's so many more eyeballs, then it feels like a lot more. But the percentage is probably the same. But you told me something early on. I think it was our first call. Maybe you said, Dylan, I think you grew so fast that the negativity feels like it could come on fast, and people notice faster growth and they make other assumptions. And that kind of sat with me because it's only been 3 years that I've been doing this. And yeah, if this had been 10 years, 12 years, or like a slower growth, maybe I wouldn't have the same negativity. I don't know.
Has there been an instance where the negativity comes and then you learn something? Or what I've discovered is, so if I were to look at you and say, you're a zebra, you'd be like, okay, I'm a zebra. Like, fine. It doesn't mean anything to you because there's no resonance. But if I had said something that was a kernel of truth, I'm not saying for you, for me, is people will say mean and negative things about me all the time. And I'm like, I'm a zebra. And then if somebody says something and it really stings, and it doesn't cripple me, but it stings, I have to immediately go into a deep dive. I'm like, what about that comment? Is there a kernel of truth? And oftentimes, if I look objectively in the mirror, I realize, dang it. The reason it hurt was because there was a kernel of truth. And so I always think every time I get that, it hurts, it stings, I hate it. I do the deep work. I forgive myself and be like, game over. Like, game over. Thank you for making me better. It hurts and it sucks that it's out there, but I'm better. How do you come back? And do you feel the same way? Or what about the mean comments? Because there's some mean comments you read and you're like, and then there's others that sting. What's the difference for you and how do you bounce back?
So one theme of the mean comments when I started was, she's coughing in her course. Like she
coughing?
Yeah, I know.
Like coughing?
I know.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Because I actually, you know how I built the course as people were joining it?
Yes.
I had to do one module a week.
Yes.
I was filming this in my closet. I was burning the candle at both ends. I actually got pneumonia. I know. So I'm like filming the course, but I have pneumonia and I'm coughing. Yes. Yes, I'm coughing, guys. I'm like literally running a marathon with a broken leg, but I sold this program. I have to make the course. So yes, I'm coughing. Yes, I edited the course on my own. I'm not a video editor. But so anyways, I filmed a new course.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm better now. Yeah. This one, no coughing or quasi coughing, or like, are we when you redid it again, any coughing included?
No coughs. Yes. It is perfect audio. So
they made it better. Yeah. They made it better.
Yeah.
And so when you hear negative things now, truth, kernel truth, no truth, how do you come back?
Yeah. Honestly, I think about people like you. I think about people like Amy, Jenna, people who've been in this space much longer and who it didn't take them down, and I know you got through it. Look at you. Like they got through it. Look at them. And I try not to take it personally. And I realize like, it's not only me. who deals with it. But people don't talk about it.
Right.
And if you're going to show up, like you're going to welcome those people, the crazy people who have time on their hands to go through 100 of your videos and comment the same thing. Like, how did someone have an hour to do that? Like, why were you that important to them to do that? So I just remember people like you've gone through it too.
I always tell myself that nobody more successful than me. I'm going to say that again because it deserves to be said right. Nobody more successful than me is leaving a mean comment.
Yeah, totally.
That's it. Like, if you have that much time and that much work,
right,
you are not doing anything.
Right.
So continue to say my name. Give me a link. Spell it right. I'm gonna keep on doing my own thing. So right now, you have created a lot of resources, but one of the ones that I was most excited to share, with your permission, is the Organic Growth Mastery Checklist. Because when you told me you got to a $10 million business without ads, I was like, this is amazing. I want to share this. So we're gonna link it in the show notes. But what was the inspiration behind this? Like, what are you sharing in this?
So the biggest question I get is, how did you actually do that without ads? What was the secret? And it's not one thing. It's not like YouTube was the only thing. There's a lot of things. And so this is a whole list of all the organic things that we've done. And that if you add those in, like, it's going to work because it's logic, basically.
And we already know that you share your best stuff for free.
I do.
So you will find a link in the show notes. Dylan, where do people go to get more information and learn about you and just watch the growth of your business?
Yes. We're growing fast right now on TikTok and Instagram. So definitely check those out. We have some interesting strategies that we're testing live one of them got like 15K people in 2 weeks. That's nothing compared to you, but for us, that was
huge. That's huge.
It was, we're testing out some really cool things over there. So check out what we're doing. Funnel hack our funnels. Come on in and check us out on YouTube, because that's really the core of our growth.
That's great. So where do they go on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube?
Dylan Jahraus for all of them. Jahraus.
Great. We'll be sure to link all of that in the show notes. Dylan, thank you.
Thank you.
I am so happy that we developed a friendship, and I'm happy that you've spoken into my business, and I'm very honored that I've spoken into yours. But the reason I wanted you to come specifically is you've done something pretty magical, and I think that you're just proof in the things that I believe. It is no one is going to save you. It is your level of consistency determines your rate of success. It is getting the negativity and moving past it. It is stepping into new versions of ourselves and rewriting and holding space for the next version of us. So thank you for being along my journey, and it's an honor to be along yours.
Thanks, Jasmine.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for watching and listening to The Jasmine Star Show.